Okay, so I'm really happy that you're here in the daily miracle lesson class, even though we don't come together every day, but at least you can receive the lesson in your email or via WhatsApp, whatever you like, and it's being sent out, so that's wonderful. The daily lesson is an incredible help, moving from the idea of separation to an idea of oneness. And so it's a temporary device, and we use it. We use it actively just to become aware of, okay, that's what I don't have to do, this is what I don't have to do. So in the review that I'm going to read in a second, in the review it will always tell you to let go of what you were thinking, to let go of this, to let go of that. And continuously it goes like that. So today we look at the idea of thinking with the mind of God. And thinking with the mind of God is not just using some of your own thoughts and some of God's thoughts. No, but we're actually going to take a look at what are we listening to then, or what are these thoughts and how can I find them and where are they? What actually do they mean? Or what is the quality of them? Especially the last part is very interesting, is what is the quality of thinking with God? So we'll meet that in different parts of the Course in Miracles. So I will read a review of the lessons around 45, and then we go to chapter 7 to pick up another segment, and then we go to chapter 31, the Savior's vision, to have something presented to us in a way that is really, helping us to see the integrity of all of this, how this so well is one story, so to speak. Let's start with 44 and then 45 and 46. So these three I'm going to read as an introduction into letting go or welcoming new ideas. God is the light in which I see. I cannot see in darkness. God is the only light. Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through Him. I've tried to define what seeing is, and I've been wrong. Now it is given me to understand that God is the light in which I see. Let me welcome vision and the happy world it will show me. So there's this part of a different world. We'll come to that later. God is the mind with which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. I have no thoughts apart from Him, because I have no mind apart from His. And as part of His mind, my thoughts are His, and His thoughts are mine. Okay, the last one. God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because He has never condemned. The blameless cannot blame, and those who've accepted their innocence see nothing to forgive. Yet forgiveness is the means by which I will recognize my innocence. It is the reflection of God's love on earth. It will bring me near enough to heaven that the love of God can reach down to me and raise me up to Him. So I love these. So that is lovely. So God is the light in which I see. God is the mind with which I think. And God is the love in which I forgive. Okay, so how's it going with your review? Because we're on this, second review class in the daily lessons. The second review lesson, which are the lessons 5 to 10. You all repeat them. During the day you repeat them a couple of times, or maybe there's one favorite that you take with you for the day. And so how are you able to practice this, or are you losing track by a different format that suddenly is there? So continuously something is being activated in you, and that is you say dedicating yourself to this continuously. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this lesson today. I'm going to keep it with me. I'm going to remind myself. And then during the day you discover, oh my God, I just lost it for 2 hours. I had no idea. I haven't been thinking about the lesson at all. So you start over and do it again. So continuously it is being asked of you to dedicate, to put your focus in a place where this is alive, where this is given to you. So that's the beauty of the setup here. And it goes so gradually, so organically, if you want. It goes very easy in that sense. And it's a very forgiving system. It's not you have to. No, this is purely coming by your desire. You want it. You're motivated to do this. Here it is. Here it's given to you. You don't have to prove anything, but you just discover for yourself how much you want this. And so that can be a pleasant surprise, or it can be devastating. Then you think like, well, I forget about this all the time. Oh my God, am I ever going to get this? Or you're motivated. You discover you're more motivated than you expected. Or to keep these lessons close to you makes you very happy for no reason. So whatever it is, you're going through a process in this mind training. You're going through a process in which you discover your resistance to this, to learning to think with the mind of God instead of your own ideas. And see, that is really what this lesson is about today too. It's like we're going to read, say, some paragraphs from the lessons to discover what actually is this about. Is this really about the thoughts that I think that God thinks too? Like, what does that actually mean, and how does that look or feel? What is the aliveness of what we're doing here? How real is this that we're practicing? See, the beauty of this is your own experience. So this is continuously related to you, to your practice, to you doing it, to you exploring your mind, exploring the possibilities of how you can be present. And so continuously also new angles in which this is presented to you, just to open your mind, to learn to naturally open your mind for anything that's occurring, not looking forward into a future where you're going to accomplish something. No, standing right here, practicing, accepting, allowing, opening. So that's a good training. You become really present here. You become really present in this moment. You allow this moment to grow, like literally to expand and to be complete. So there are no real restrictions to doing the exercises anywhere. They're like you can do them anywhere. There's no restriction in place or time. So whenever this comes to you, you start to remember, you can pick up the lesson. That's so great. So that's going to be great help for you, because during the process of this, you also discover that your sensitivity is growing, that there really is a transformative process going on in which you become more sensitive to what you are thinking and your effect on everything that you see. So there's a real growth of awareness in doing these exercises, even though it seems so simple and it seems like maybe obvious to you. So it's interesting. It's a real discovery. So today, looking at lesson 45, God is the mind with which I think, I'm going to start to read, say, the first 2 paragraphs. And it goes like this. Today's idea, hold the key to what your real thoughts are. They are nothing that you think you think. Just as nothing that you think you see is related to vision in any way. There's no relationship between what is real and what you think is real. Nothing that you think are your real thoughts resemble your real thoughts in any respect. Nothing that you think you see bears any resemblance to what vision will show you. Okay, so putting it straight here. It's like, okay, this is an alignment. All right, so I don't have to trust my own ideas in this at all. Because what I think real thoughts are is not what it is. What I think that I see is not what vision is. Okay, so that's a good one to start with, because I had ideas about what real thoughts are and tried to shape them in my mind, but these are not what it is. So here you are. You think with the mind of God. Therefore, you share your thoughts with Him, as He shares His with you. They are the same thoughts, because they are thought by the same mind. To share is to make alike, or to make one. Nor do the thoughts you think with the mind of God leave your mind, because thoughts do not leave their source. Therefore your thoughts are in the mind of God as you are. They are in your mind as well, where He is. As you are part of His mind, so are your thoughts part of His thoughts. See, the funny part, when you read this for the first time, maybe it's like, well, this is like a Celtic knot try to unfold. Like, what on earth does this mean? Or maybe you get it right away. That would be lovely too. Who knows? But see, the beauty of this is the fact that let me see how I share this with you. It is a discovery, you know. It is a relief to actually read this. This is making it very easy for you. So it's not complicated at all. No, it's like you think with the mind of God. And these are not the thoughts that you think, because the thoughts that you think are meaningless. They are nothing, really. So this is something else you're going to discover. So here actually is a description of something that should make you feel really good if you recognize it for what it is. Like, oh my God, I'm actually thinking with the mind of God. I don't need to go anywhere. I just open myself up for an experience of that, and that becomes, it's being revealed to me what it is. And also this is on that kind of wavelength you can receive that. So it's totally different than anything you think about what it is. See, that's why discussions of this are so meaningless too. Like, we don't have to discuss about what this means or what that is, and that's also not what I'm doing. So basically what we can do, what we can give each other in this, is offering the experience of this, offering the idea of, if you let go of what you think is going on, of what you think that you are, or what your concerns are, or all this, what we always practice in the beginning of a class. It's like, no, let this quiet down, because the more space you offer, the more it can be filled with the truth of you. You know, it can become clear, it can be revealed to you what it means. But also you can come into an experience, a direct experience of it. That is the beauty of this. Okay, so I'm skipping to L4, the second part of the paragraph. We will deny the world in favor of truth. We will attempt to leave the unreal and seek for the real. We will deny the world in favor of truth. We will not let the thoughts of the world hold us back. And we will not let the beliefs of the world tell us that what God would have us do is impossible. So that reveals to you too something. It's like what happens here is then, okay, so apparently the thoughts that I think with my human mind, which are not real thoughts at all, it's not really thinking at all, they will always tell me that it's impossible and that it might take that it might take a long time before you get it, or that it's difficult, or that it's, not for you yet, or who knows what kind of idea you have circulating. None of that is matters here. Like, this is not, we go beyond that. It's always like, no, that's the next step. We go beyond it. We don't stay here. We don't let us hold back by these limiting beliefs. We go one step further and opening ourselves up for something that we might think is impossible, but is not impossible at all, since all things are possible in God. And all opportunities are here. Okay, so going through the second part of L6 in the Urtext, try then to go past all the unreal thoughts which cover the truth in your mind and reach to the eternal. So my real thoughts are in my mind. I would like to find them. That's what you repeat to yourself. My real thoughts are in my mind. I would like to find them. Since they are there and I'm that, so to speak, I might as well come in touch with them. But what is stopping me is this. So then try to go past all the unreal thoughts which cover the truth in your mind and reach to the eternal. Under all the senseless thoughts and mad ideas with which you have cluttered up your mind are the thoughts which you thought with God in the beginning. They are there in your mind now, completely unchanged, and they will always be in your mind exactly as they always were. In other words, you can't lose them. Everything that you have thought since then will change, but the foundation on which they rest is wholly changeless. It is this foundation toward which the exercises for today are directed. Here is your mind joined with the mind of God. Here are your thoughts one with His. Okay, so it goes a step further now. Your thoughts, here are your thoughts one with His. So we're actually, coming in touch with the possibility of a direct communication. Of direct communication with God. It's happening here. It's happening in the exercise that we do, sinking deeper into our awareness and allowing that to happen. So there's one more paragraph I would like to share, and then I'll stop reading for a second. In using this, for this kind is L8. For this kind of practice, only one thing is necessary. Approach it as you would an altar dedicated in heaven itself to God the Father and God the Son. For such is the place you are trying to reach. You will probably be unable as yet to realize how high you are trying to go. Yet even with the little understanding you have already gained, you should be able to remind yourself that this is no idle game, but an exercise in holiness and an attempt to reach the kingdom of heaven. Wow. So now it becomes bigger and bigger. Can you see that? It's like, first it is like, okay, it's not my thoughts. No, thinking with the mind of God, I'm part of it. I can actually come directly in touch with that because it is happening in me. It is connected in me. It's whole in me. It is already there, and it's my entrance into the kingdom of heaven. It is a possibility for me to experience the kingdom of heaven, seeing that it's an extension of the perfection in which I was created. So this is just lesson 45. After 45 days, of doing these exercises, you come already to this point in which you are offered an experience of the kingdom of heaven. In a very systematic way, it's being offered to you on a daily basis, slowly but certainly going in that direction. So apparently nothing is stopping you from experiencing that, according to what is being stated here. So that's lovely to know. So then the thoughts that arise in you, or the resistance that you feel coming up, can be looked at, of course, and let go of at the same time. Like, okay, I recognize that as my own personal craziness, and personal in terms of I thought it, but I'm going to let go of that idea for myself. I will not identify myself as that. So I want to open my mind to have a different occurrence happening to me. Okay, so two references I use one is from chapter 7. Right now, chapter 7L. Chapter 7L is on page 91. It's just 2 paragraphs, even though it might be a lot of listening. I don't know how that is for you, but see, there are things that are being presented here. It's great to read it again, and because it is given, it's like it holds a real gift to you. Like there's a real pearl in there for you to discover or to receive. That's why I use it. Okay, so let's check this out. The State of Grace is the title. L2. Grace is the natural state of every son of God. When he is not in a state of grace, he is out of his natural environment and does not function well. Well, obviously. So you recognize this, right? So if you're not in a state of grace, you're actually outside of your natural environment. So and you say like, okay, well, did I already experience a state of grace then? Well, yes, you did. Yes, you did experience a state of grace. It's familiar to you. You might not remember it immediately, but it is there. You've been there. You've done that. You have contact with a state of grace, like you were in that, or you are in that maybe at this moment. Grace is the natural state of every son of God. When he is not in a state of grace, he is out of his natural environment and does not function well. Everything he does becomes a strain because he was not created for the environment which he was made. So I love that. It's like that takes away a lot of pressure. It's like you don't have to function well in a place where you don't belong. You don't have to function well there. It's like, okay, whatever the world tells you about your functioning and how you're dealing and how you're doing, it's like you don't have to function there well because it's not your natural environment. You were not made to function there. So any limitations that you're experiencing or any impossibilities that you encounter in that sense in your worldly life is a confirmation of that. That, see, actually I don't function here. I don't really function here well because I was not created for this. It feels very unnatural not being able to be completely loving to everyone and everything that I meet, or to not having any future goals, or not having any ideas about age and human life. Like, it doesn't feel natural to me at all to think that I was born here, I stay for a couple of years and then I leave and die or something. And so on. I mean, there are a lot of parts in which you discover the unnaturalness of this place. So that can be the same with relationships. That can be the same with your financial relationship. It can be also with your business relationships or your work relationships, or you name it. Like, for a great part of it, you're not made for that. You don't function there completely in bliss. Maybe for a very short moment, but then something happens again, or you know what. So we all have experiences with that, that's for sure. I know that for sure. So far you've tried to push through that, to make it work, to put all your effort in it and strain in order to achieve that what is not asked of you, but what you felt because you grew up in a place that wasn't natural for you. So I find in these words a lot of comfort, like, oh, that's a big relief. I don't have to function here. I don't have to, function in a place that is not made for me. So when I take time to enter into the place, and there's an extra, almost like an extra motivation to do it. Like when I enter into this still place inside myself and feel that I start to communicate, or feel light coming in, or feel a lot of presence, I know that I belong there, that it's normal for me, like natural for me, to love my brother as myself, and allowing that to occur. He therefore cannot adapt to it, nor can he adapt it to him. There's no point in trying to adapt. Like a son of God is happy only when he knows he is with God. See, I'm stating the obvious. It's actually the obvious, you know this. A son of God is happy only when he knows he is with God. That is the only environment in which he will not experience strain, because that is where he belongs. It is also the only environment that is worthy of him, because his own worth is beyond anything that he can make. The concept of the self stands like a shield, a silent barricade before the truth. See, the concept of the self with a small s, like with the human identity, stands like a shield, a barricade before the truth, and hides it from your sight. All things you see are images because you look on them, and through a barrier which dims your sight and warps your vision, so that you behold nothing with clarity. The light is kept from everything you see. At most, you glimpse a shadow of what lies beyond. At least you merely look on darkness and perceive the terrified imaginings that comes from guilty thoughts and concepts born of fear. Well, that's a description of the world. At least you merely look on darkness and perceive the terrified imaginings that come from guilty thoughts and concepts born of fear. And what you see is hell, for fear is hell. All that is given you is for release. The sight, the vision, and the inner guide all lead you out of hell, with those you love beside you, and the universe with them. Wow. All that is given you is for release. The sight, the vision, and the inner guide all lead you out of hell, with those you love beside you, and the universe with them. G8. Behold your role within the universe. To every part of true creation has the Lord of love and life entrusted all salvation from the misery of hell. And to each one has he allowed the grace to be a Saviour to the holy ones, especially entrusted to his care. And this he learns then. First, he looks upon one brother as he looks upon himself, and sees the mirror of himself in him. Thus is the concept of himself laid by. For nothing stands between his sight and what he looks upon, to judge what he beholds. And in this single vision does he see the face of Christ and understands he looks on everyone as he beholds this one. For there is light where darkness was before, and now the veil is lifted from his sight. So this is your role in the universe. So, breaking that short, so to speak, it's like when you see it in one, you see it in everyone. It's like you only have to see it in one in order to see it in everyone. So this is how it is revealed to us, like this is how that goes. So something happens. Suddenly you see your brother as who he really is. Suddenly you discover, say, the wholeness of what you are looking at and recognize it in your brother and in yourself at the same time. So you start to actually see the expansion that occurs. You actually start to think with the mind of God. Something is revealed to you that is like shaking everything up, making your whole perspective different, because you actually start to see with vision. You actually start to recognize your brother. You actually, discover the truth of who you are. And that is what's so lovely, as an invitation here in the Savior's vision. Like, don't forget, this is how that is. So I remember from chapter 21, the beyond the sun and stars, this part is like the forgotten song. So it ends also with, when you see it in your brother, you are remembering it for everyone. So this is your role in the universe. Like, this is the only thing that you have to do, in fact. Just open yourself up to have that be revealed to you and let that happen. That is then you feel that you're in the right environment. You recognize the totality of you. You see why you were born. Like, suddenly everything starts to make sense. And so this is the offering then, in thinking with the mind of God. It's a different quality. No, it's a quality of totality. It's happening right now. It has no laws connected to anything else, no laws connected to the future or how you're supposed to behave or what you're supposed to do. No, this is about receiving it and seeing and feeling the guidance and the love in the moment, and letting that be complete inside of you. So that's so beautiful. So I'm happy to read these, and so they're all related, of course, to the lesson that we were dealing with, lesson 45. So going back to that, and picking up a line here.